now, we're live. Yes, live from Jay's place, and we're talking
Barber Shop Talk.
Yes, Barber Shop Talk, where nothing is off limits and everything's on the table.
Everything's on the table. Barber Shop Talk.
Come on, everybody. We're here at Jennie's place.
Barber Shop.
We're talking Barber Shop Talk. Barber Shop Talk. Barber Shop Talk. Where nothing's off limits.
Barber Shop Talk.
Barber Shop Talk. Barber Shop Talk. Barber Shop Talk. Everything's on the table.
Barber Shop Talk.
Barber Shop Talk. Barber Shop Talk. Barber Shop Talk. Everything's on the table.
Barbershop Talk live here at Jay's Place Barbershop, 1927 Olive Road. Another edition of Barbershop Talk live here, 1927 Olive Road, Jay's Place Barbershop. Before I get started on this wonderful Wednesday, I got to give a special shout out to my sponsors that put this program together behind the scenes. One of the sponsors is my good friend, Miss Tillman. Go see Miss Tillman at 1028 Broad Street. What she's doing, Augusta small business owners, you are Augusta small business owner, this coming April the 30th through May the 6th, she's putting together a National Small Business Week. Again, National Small Business Week. She's calling out all the small business. All of the small business here in the CSOA, she's urged you to come down to 1028 Broad Street to be a part of this magnificent grand occasion that's going on again between April the 30th and May the 6th. If you need any information, give her a call. Also, you can go into the website, Augusta Small Business Owners at augusta@gmail.com. Again, small business owners, augusta@gmail.com. My good friend, Latanya Tillman, 1028 Broad Street. Sign up, give her a call, go to the website. Again, it's April the 30th through May the 6th, Augusta Small Business Owners. Please, ma'am, please, sir, do that for your business. You will not be disappointed in doing that. Again, another great edition of Barbershop Talk live here at Jay's Place Barbershop. I'm asking you to call your friends, call your neighbors, call your church members, and even get your enemies to log on to Barbershop Talk Live, because again, we do some good conversations, a fun conversation, and we just do something different. So I thank you for tuning in. Again, today is a special day, like all the days are special, because I got a special guest. And man, let me tell you, I got this guest here. She came from far and near. As a matter of fact, she came from Riceboro Road. She came all the way from Riceboro Road to be with us at Barbershop Talk Live. So I am excited. I'm ecstatic. I'm sitting here twitching and moving and good because I'm ready for the conversation for this great guest that I have. So please, ma'am, please, sir, get your phones ready. We got a special guest, Miss. Listen, did you hear what I said? I said Miss Jennie from the block. Miss Jennie Montgomery. How you doing, Jennie?
Hey, John. I am doing great, and thank you for inviting me to be on your show.
Man, listen, you just don't know how I am excited for you to be on the show.
Well, thank you very much. It's really fun. And to be on the other end now, because you're going to be asking me some questions. I'm the one who does all the question asking. Well, so this will be a fun change.
I promise you, we're going to have a good time. Do you mind me calling you Jennie from the block?
I don't mind a bit.
That's you know, it's kind of fun.
I like it.
Because Jennie
from the block.
Jennie from the block. I mean, you just convert, you just get in, you just do what you got to do because you're just a round-the-way girl.
That's it. Absolutely.
Now listen, Jennie. Everybody know you from Channel 6 News. They see you all the time. They always see the big pretty smile. They see you. They're like, they go Jennie. Jennie's home. So everybody rushing to the TV to see Jennie. But I have done my homework. I've done my research.
Okay.
I've been Googling.
Yeah.
So now I know about Jennie, but for the people that might just be passing through, that don't know who Jennie Montgomery is, I want you to take a few minutes and tell the people, who is Jennie Montgomery?
First and foremost, I am a working mom. That is how I see myself. I'm a working mom. I anchor the evening news on WJBF News Channel 6. I've been there since 95 is when I started at the station, and I've been anchoring the evening news since 97. My first co-anchor was Bob Young, and Bob stepped down to run for mayor, and he was mayor of Augusta for several years. And the new gentleman that came in to be my co-anchor was Brad Means. And so Brad and I have had a great run together. This is our 25th year anchoring the news together.
25 years.
25 years. And so he is my TV husband.
Okay.
My real husband is a wonderful man named Scott Elledge. And Scott and I met together in television back in the late 80s in Spartanburg. Okay. And so we worked together, and we had worked together for over a year when we kind of got set up, because we were just work friends. But we had a reporter that we were both friends with, and she knew that I was getting kind of sweet for Scott, and she knew that Scott had an eye for me. And so she called me one day and asked if I could meet her for a drink after work, and she told me where to meet her. So when I walk in, Scott was there, and he's like, "Oh, what are you doing here?" And I'm like, "Well, hey, I'm here to meet Deborah." And he said, "I'm here to meet Deborah." And we realized Deborah was not going to show. And so it was very fun, because we both, it was like, oh, okay, well, you know, it's really a risk when you have a friendship and then it turns to a romance. But for us, it's worked, and we've been married. This December will be 33 years that we've been married.
33.
We have 3 grown children, and they are, this year, they're turning 28, 29, and 30.
Okay, so did I hear something about some possible fraternizing on the job?
Well, you know,
That was a little fraternizing, but
it all happened
just happened.
really fast.
Okay.
And we've just worked together we're a package deal. And it's been fun. I mean, it's been a great ride. We've learned how to make everything work. And we worked different shifts when our children were little. He was nothing but Mr. Mom, and especially on the weekends. My first couple of years, I was, for about a year and a half, I was weekend anchor. And so I had 2 days off during the week because I worked on Saturday and Sunday. So I had 2 days off during the week, and then he had the weekend off. So I only needed childcare 3 days a week. And on the weekends, he was Mr. Mom with these little babies. He did an amazing job. And when I would go to work, when I started at Channel 6, I was working for the late news. So I would go in at 7 at night and work 7 to midnight. And I would pull into the back parking lot and wait at the back door. Because I had babies strapped into car seats, and it was just much easier for him to take my car back home than to try to trade out car seats. So we have just worked. We just worked all the way through. You know, we worked and we figured out how to raise our family, working really odd hours and different hours. But it's great.
So now, are you from Augusta?
I am not. I'm from Spartanburg.
Spartanburg, and that's about an hour, 2 hours away?
2.5 hours up the road. Yeah, in the upstate.
What brought you to Augusta?
WJBF.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So you always been in television some kind of way?
For a long time.
Okay.
Yeah, for a long time.
So you didn't start off as a short order cook nowhere and you know, waiting on tables or that kind of
No,
stuff?
I actually started off, I had a salon.
You had a salon?
I had a salon in Spartanburg. When I went to college, I went to college in Greensboro, North Carolina, and I started out as an English major because I always wanted to go into broadcasting. And I don't know, all of a sudden I was really into my art, and I had a professor who understood that for me, art really involved a lot more than, I looked at the face as a canvas, and I really loved makeup, and I really wanted to do makeup for magazines. And I learned that in North Carolina, where I was in college, I had to have a cosmetology license to be able to be a makeup artist. And I wasn't interested at all in hair. But I did want to have that license so I could do makeup. And I did freelance makeup through school. But what I also learned was I had a knack for hair. And I had an eye for structure and texture and color. And so for 6 years, right after I graduated from college, I thought I would work a few months, save money, and then go do big makeup campaign, magazine work in New York or whatever. Those were my goals when I was in my early 20s. But what happened was I built a clientele very fast, and I had a financial backer who was building a very upscale shopping area, and he wanted to put a salon in it, and he said he wanted me to do a salon there. So I had a staff that worked for me, and while I was in the process of this, the CBS affiliate asked me if I would do a makeover segment, and so I was on the noon show as a regular feature doing makeovers, because back in the 80s, the late 80s, makeovers and Jose E. Bear, that was a really, really big deal. So viewers would write in and they would get a makeover. And John, I tell you, it was an interesting thing. It was very successful. People had to book months out to get an appointment. If you were in, you went ahead and booked appointments for down the road, because it was very big. And I was very young. I did a lot of platform work because I was young and free to travel. But I felt like I wasn't doing what God put me here to do. And once Scott, who was my director for this segment, once our friendship grew and I was really able to tell him, hey, I know this is a really cool thing, and that I have people that work for me and I have this successful business, but I just don't feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to write. I'm supposed to write and tell stories. And so I like to say that what happened was, I had the opportunity to sort of make myself over, and that was when I got a new name, and that new name was Mommy. After our first baby was born, I decided I wanted to take a little time off and just be a stay-at-home mom. And in that little 18-month window, my husband had the opportunity to move here to JBF. It gave me the opportunity to leave Spartanburg and to move here, where nobody here knew me, and I was able to start over in the newsroom here as a news person. Now the funny thing was, the general manager of the station here asked me a few weeks into our move, hey, I want to talk to you about this makeover segment you were doing up in Spartanburg. I want you to do something like that here. And I knew that I would be pigeonholing myself if I did that. So what I agreed to was getting it on the air. And I said, I'll get that segment, but I want to learn how to edit it, and I want to do it as the reporter. I'll find a salon that can do the makeovers. So that became a real life internship, as my husband would call it, because I wasn't making any money. I was making just enough money for daycare. But I learned the skills that I needed to be able to work the newsroom. And as soon as we had other openings, I started, like I said, working on the weekend. I was weekend reporter, and then I was weekend anchor for about a year and a half. And then I had the opportunity to move into the anchor chair in '97.
So I think I heard something earlier when you said you was in the cosmetology world, and remember I did some Googling.
Yeah.
I did a little Googling.
Right.
So I think you was recognized as TV's best hair.
Well, that's sort of the funny thing. That's a local Augusta Magazine award.
Oh, you had the best hair on TV.
Best TV hair.
Best BTV hair.
So I had a consultant one time over the years, when she found out I had a background in hair and makeup, she was like, well, that's a real asset. That's a real asset if you're going to be in front of a camera.
You got to have some good hair. You got to have some good hair.
But what I learned, as you look back over your life and you see the different experiences that you've had and the different opportunities, what I learned and what I have taken from those 6 years in my 20s, what I learned was how to listen to people. God could never have put me in a better in a better place to learn reporter skills. Because you know this, John, when you start combing, you've got somebody in your hydraulic chair and you're combing their wet hair, their mouth just starts doing this. Right. And for a lot of people, you become a vault. They tell you things they don't tell other people. Right. You learn how to earn people's trust. You learn how to listen to people, and you also learn how to relate to people from all different backgrounds. And that's one thing I really, really loved about my job, is that I had people from all walks of life, and that only benefited me once I moved into a newsroom and out in the field and reporting and meeting people from all walks of life. I did a story in Nicaragua some years ago, and on the same day that my photographer and I met with the UN ambassador in Managua, we had been at the city dump of the city Leon, where people lived in the city dump under blue tarps, and they would just wait for garbage trucks to come up and dump garbage. And you would see these skeletal dogs and cows and other animals trying to get the garbage. And then all of a sudden, this plastic would come up and people would come out. And to be able to, in that particular moment, the people who had the biggest challenges versus the ambassador, all in one day.
All in one day.
And I think it's very important that we treat everyone with respect. Everybody comes from different situations, but we respect each other and don't look down on anybody. And those were lessons that I learned in those 6 years behind the chair.
Okay. Now, I also heard something earlier when you said you went off to college and got your training and got your education. So now,
My degree is in psychology.
In psychology. So now, based on that, for the ones that are listening and watching on Barbershop Talk Live here every Wednesday, 1927 Olive Road, what is the importance of education to you?
Well, what I like to say about my education, of course, it opens your eyes. It opens your eyes to the world outside of what you know. The best experience I had in college was doing a semester abroad. I studied in London. And being able to live in a foreign country, being able to travel in other countries and experience different cultures along the way broadens you so much. And again, for me, I felt like college really taught me a lot about tolerance. We're all different. You know, we have different backgrounds, we have different belief systems, we have different religions. And I think that it's important that we make a place for each other. We don't all have to believe the same thing. That would be very boring if we all did. But I think we have to respect each other's differences. And I think that is one of the most valuable things I learned from college. And the most important part of education in general, I think, is reading. Read. And I always tell this to children. Just read everything you can get your hands on, because reading is going to open your world. And travel also opens your world. And a lot of times, if you don't have access to travel, you have access to stories. You have access to written word, and you can read about other places.
Okay, now let me ask you a question that I know is probably simple to you, but it might be some difficult to others.
Yeah.
Why should we watch Channel 6 News? That's kind of a simple question. You know, I know you got a simple answer to it, but again, why not the other station? We got a lot of other stations in the area, so why should we put our attention on Channel 6, whether you own or not?
Okay. Well, I believe very much in WJBF News Channel 6 because we are a community station, okay? We are the place where you turn to find out what's happening where you live. Any of us can get the news now 24/7. You know, the news is right here in our hand. We can get the news on our phone. We don't have to have what used to be called appointment watching when the news only came on at 5 or 6 or 11. That doesn't matter anymore. You can get the news when you want to. I feel committed to Channel 6 because Channel 6 is very committed to this community. We recognize a lot of the people who are in this community for what they do to make our community better. We do this through our Golden Apple Award, which recognizes outstanding teachers. We do this through our Giving Your Best initiative, of which John is a winner, recognizing volunteers who go above and beyond in our community. We recognize scholar athletes. And of course, if you look at the sales end of things, we are spotlighting businesses. Our sales executives, when you see the commercials on Channel 6 and when you watch some of the different daytime programming, you're learning about the different businesses. You were talking about Augusta Small Business Week. That's really important. And we like very much to spotlight those local businesses. And if you're just watching a cable news channel, you're never going to see that. You're never going to know about your own town. You're never going to know what's in South Augusta, what's on Broad Street, what's in Hepzibah, by just watching a national news. That's why the local news is important. We have several local stations here, and we have a friendly rivalry. I mean, we all cover the same stories. You know, we're at the same things. I think that one of the things that we really focus on is we would rather be right than first. A lot of times, if you're in such a hurry to be first to report something, you make a mistake and you wind up having to do a retraction. So our motto is just sort of like, we would rather be right than first. And so we're not going to just take something because we see it somewhere else and run with it. We're going to confirm everything. We have to have a second source confirming it before we're going to run with it.
Great news. Great to know. Now you know why you should watch Channel 6 News, WJBF. So now I want to piggyback on something that you said a few minutes ago.
Sure.
And I was elated, excited, and surprised. I mean, surprised that you just said something about to give you your best award.
Yeah.
And Jennie, when I say that my wife, co-workers, family, grandkids,
Church friends, you had so many people here.
Man, I'm still shocked now because it constantly shows on TV now. So when you say about the give you your best award, and I'm glad you said it because guess what I got?
What's that?
My giving your best award here.
Oh, you do. It's beautiful, isn't it? It's beautiful. Do you want me to read it so they can hear
Please
it? Okay,
do.
all right.
Please do.
So we'll sort of reenact this when we surprised John.
Yes, surprise.
And so this is what I wanted everybody to know, was that we were so proud to present John Milton with our Giving Your Best Award for giving your best to those in need through your compassion for others and your commitment to the community. And it is from WJBF News Channel 6 and our Giving Your Best partners, Piedmont Augusta, Solvay Specialty Polymers, and Security Federal Bank. Everybody clap for John Milton.
Man.
And you know, John, one of the things that I remember about that day was a sweet lady Wanda who was here.
Yes.
Wanda was a nominator. Well, she wasn't the nominator, I don't think, but she was. Maybe she was the nominator, but she was here. Okay, Wanda was here, and one of the things that Wanda said that really resonated with me was she nominated you because of the great support that you had given to help raise awareness about HIV and the health fairs that you have here in your property here that you have for the community because you have the space to do it and how committed you had been to this. But what she said was to have an ally that's not in the LGBTQ community means so much. And you said, we're all people. We're all people, and that's what matters. We help each other. If you're in a position where you can help somebody, you help them.
Help them out. Help them out. And you know, you almost made me lose my train of thought because we live, but I got to come at you with this question right here. Normally, every day, I put something on my Facebook page.
Yeah.
And I try to do what I call the word for the day. And the word for the day actually just try to motivate someone, let them look at something a little different, and just see whoever the situation calls for, just to, you know, give them a little brain teaser sometime.
Right.
So today I want to give you a word for the day. Now the word for the day is whatever the word I give you, what it means to you.
Okay.
So the word that I'm going to give you now is reputation.
Reputation.
So what does the word reputation means to you?
Okay, considering that my two daughters are going to see Taylor Swift this Sunday in Atlanta, but we won't go there. But reputation immediately comes to mind when I've got craziness in my house because of these girls getting ready to see Taylor Swift. Reputation is so important. Your reputation is how people view you. And I take my reputation very seriously. I want to be somebody that people hold up and maybe want to aspire to live their life in a similar manner. I want to be respectful of people. I want to be uplifting, and I'm going to present myself professionally. And a lot of that in this area, in our viewing area, of course, has to do with just the fact that WJBF, I mean, I represent WJBF, and I realize when I'm in Walmart or in the grocery store or wherever, you know, you see me and you think WJBF, you know, or you think News Lady, whatever you think. But I value that which has been entrusted to me through my position, and I try to honor all of that and to honor our viewers by presenting myself in that way. But reputation, your reputation outlives you.
So also now, CSRA, please, ma'am, please, sir, don't forget April 30th through May the 6th, we are doing our Small Business Appreciation Week. Again, you can go to the website at smallbusinessownersaugusta@gmail.com. Please, ma'am, please, sir, sign up. 1028 Broad Street, I'm telling you, this is a situation you will not be disappointed. You want to be a part of. Again, Augusta Small Business Associations, Augusta Small Business Owners. Again, the website is Augusta Small Business Owners Augusta@gmail.com. Call my good friend, Natanya Tillman, or you can go by the website or 1028 Broad Street. Ms. Montgomery.
Yes, sir.
Another word that I want to bring to your attention.
Okay.
And again, it's the word for the day.
The word for the day.
The word for the day is, do you feel that you are lucky or blessed? That's
really good.
Do you think you're lucky? Because again, you come from Spartanburg, and last time I've been through Spartanburg, I didn't know I went through Spartanburg. I went through so quick, I'm on the other side of Spartanburg. So again, you come from a small town. Now, before I tell you what small town you come from, I'm from a big small town.
Yeah?
I'm from a big little town called Waycross, Georgia.
Waycross.
And I'm talking about Waycross, Georgia. Have you ever been to Waycross, Georgia?
Maybe through it, but yeah, not do it.
Well, if you go back, just see my mom. She'll give you a plate.
Okay.
She loves to feed everybody. So go to Waycross, Georgia. That's my big hometown. So that being said, you come from Spartanburg.
Right.
So now, I think I got a question from the floor. I got a question from the floor. I'm going to come back.
I got a couple of comments for Jennie. Jamila Duke said you're exactly right when you spoke about John and the community work. Mr. Lantford, Jennie, you're indeed a light to the community.
Oh, can they hear you, what you're saying right now? Do you need to read this? They can hear?
Yeah.
They can, okay.
Yeah.
Are you showing it on the screen? Is that what you're
Yeah, that's on the
reading?
comments.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, I'm directing behind the scenes here.
I see that. She said, it mostly definitely does. All the stuff you said about John and everything, yeah.
Man, it blew my head up. But again,
That's nice.
Really enjoy Jennie being on.
Thank you.
I appreciate
Thank you very much.
a big little small town, Spartanburg.
Right.
Can you?
Right.
So again, the question is,
Lucky or blessed?
are you lucky or are you blessed?
You know, every single night before I go to sleep, I'm thanking God for my blessings. I feel like I've been very blessed. I do. I mean, I think that gratitude is such an important part of what we have to practice. I think maybe I have had some situations that have been lucky, maybe lucky timing, but even when I look back at timing, I feel like that forces work together to make you be at a certain place at a certain time. And I really feel that there's a lot to be said for blessings.
And that's what I was looking, because again, I don't really believe in luck. I think it's just my time.
Yeah.
Or it's meant for me.
I think if there were luck, some of my quick picks would have paid off by now.
Remember, we live here, so she's playing the numbers. She is playing the lottery.
You know what I do? Because, you know, you stop at the gas and everything's the card. Everything's the card. And so if I ever run in, I'm going to the bathroom or whatever, if I have any cash on me, I'm like, oh, I've got a couple dollars. Okay, I do a quick pick.
Take a
I
chance.
don't ever fill anything out. I'll just do a quick pick.
See what happens.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you never know. But
You never know.
You might be lucky or blessed. So let me ask this question now. Again, what does the name Scott mean to you?
Scott?
Scott.
Well, Scott is the love of my life.
Tell us about Scott.
Scott Elledge is from South Pittsburgh, Tennessee, which is just outside of Chattanooga, beautiful mountainous area. And from the time he was a kid, he was interested in all of this stuff. Okay, you've got a big speaker here, and you've got cables everywhere. And Scott was a jock, and he played football. He went to college. He went to Middle Tennessee State on a football scholarship. And while he was in college, there was some big pro sports strike. I don't know what it was, but there was some big strike. And so like ESPN or whatever was showing college football games because they lost because some pro players for some sport were on strike. So anyway, so they're at his college, and he just was fascinated with the production of sportscasting, and they took him into the buses to see how they were set up, and so that really kind of lit a fire in him that he wanted to do broadcasting. And he always talks about how that was just such neat timing, that there happened to be this strike and the sports stations were just trying to spotlight different colleges while they didn't have the pro teams to spotlight. But Scott is a fixer. He sees a situation and he is up for the challenge. He is patient. He's an only child. And he's just a wonderful person. He's a wonderful person.
Sounds like to me Scott is blessed.
He is blessed.
He's blessed. He's not
blessed.
lucky.
He was chairman of our United Way here in Augusta. He's been very involved on different boards. And in the last year, he was offered a job in Charlotte. And this came as a real big surprise to us because he wasn't looking to make any kind of a move. But he had an opportunity that came to him that has just sort of expanded. It was all the things he loves, and it was a great opportunity. So we see each other on the weekends. And it's been kind of fun because we just have fun on the weekends. I mean, I get my chores done during the week here. He gets his chores done if I'm going up to Charlotte. And so we just have fun. And my kids say what we had to do, because we have had so many of our kids in their grown-up years circle back to the house and live at home for a while. One will leave, one will come, one will leave, one will come. That they've said, okay, so to be empty nesters, Mom and Dad have just had to move the nest. So they think that's right. When we go to Charlotte, that's where we're away from everybody. Okay. But that's been an interesting dynamic in our relationship now, to just see each other on the weekends. And we have a whole new respect level for each other. There's no taking each other for granted. We're just excited for the time we have together. And it's again, like I said, a real different dynamic because we had lived and worked together for many years.
Okay. CSO, if you have a question for our special guest, Miss Jennie Montgomery, please, sir, put it on the screen. We'll answer any question you have. If you have a question for me, put it on the screen. We'll answer any and all questions that you have. And I want to also bring your attention to pond maintenance. Please, man, please. So if you're looking for someone to take care of your pond, cut your grass, cut down some trees, call my good friend Adam Odom at 706-294-8493, pond maintenance. Miss Jennie.
Yes, sir.
I got another question.
Another word? Is it another word?
Well, it could be a word. But again, we live. We live.
Okay.
So now you've been in this business all these years.
I know it. And I started when I was 10.
When you was 10. We live. So I want to bring ask a question. So you've been around all these years doing TV.
Yeah.
So who inspired you?
I have two answers. Barbara Walters is the first, absolutely.
Okay.
I like to think that I'm somewhere in between Barbara Walters and Oprah Winfrey.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good inspiration.
Absolutely. And Barbara Walters, I think any woman over 40 that's in broadcasting would say the same thing. Barbara Walters really, really opened the doors of broadcasting for women. And so I think anybody, any woman would particularly have been inspired by Barbara Walters.
So if there's a woman out there watching now, or a young girl that want to be the next Jennie Montgomery,
nice.
What should the next Jennie Montgomery potential do to be Miss Jennie Montgomery, the next person?
That's a wonderful question. English classes are very important. Write. Learn to write. Grammar is important. the way that you communicate, you must be an effective communicator. Public speaking classes would be awesome. And if you don't have public speaking while you're in school, community colleges have public speaking classes you can take. But public speaking is a very important skill, and it helps you to be concise with your thoughts. You know, a lot of times our thoughts are all over the place. And particularly in broadcasting, you need to learn how to really bring those thoughts together succinctly. And writing classes help with that a whole lot.
Okay, I got you. I think we got a
And the
question.
most important thing about being a journalist, in my opinion, curiosity. You've got to be
You
curious.
gotta be curious.
Yeah.
You gotta be curious. I think we got another question from the floor.
Boy, they jumped up fast. Okay, I want you to read this, Jane, okay?
I will.
What you broadcast.
Okay.
At the bottom is a sign-up form from the Tiny Tiller.
Okay.
We live.
So I am reading Natanya Tillman, small business owners in the Augusta area. I have to tap it because it just went away. Join National Small Business Week Augusta. Hashtag NSBW Augusta 2023. Sign up online. Go to forums.gle. Oh, wow, that's way too long to read that out.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, yeah. So if you go, then you're going to find that form to sign up. And Natanya Tillman will certainly help with your small business as we support other small businesses in our area. I hear you, Jenny. Thank you, Janice. And I see you. Walisa Langford, love you, girl. And she has said in asterisks, learn to read without moving your eyes. Walisa is another Giving Your Best winner.
Okay.
And she was awarded for a mentoring group that she founded for for young girls, like from 8 to 18, something like that. So they're called Precious Pearls Mentoring. And they visited me at the news station Friday night. And anyway, one of the questions that Walisa asked while they were visiting was, because they saw the teleprompters that are above our cameras. And she said, how do you read without moving your eyes? Because, you know, you can't read line like, yeah. And so I was telling her that no, you can't teach somebody to do that. Either your eyes shift or they don't. You know, so that was very funny, and that was very clever of you, Walisa, to put that in there like that. Got it.
So Jenny, let me ask this question. So again, so Scott is in Charlotte?
He's in Charlotte right now.
So he know you on the show today?
I have mentioned it. I don't know if he's watching now or not.
Okay, so
But I know he'll watch later when he sees me post the link. Repost the link.
So normally, you have always been the person that does.
I love where you're going with this.
You does this, and I really appreciate it, because the other person that's won these awards, they appreciate it, because there have been so many surprises. And again, I didn't know. I have no idea.
Yeah.
My grandkids, everybody surprised me. So I'm just so elated and excited to be to the point that we have Scott here.
What?
Scott is here. So
Where's Scott?
Scott is here. So Scott, can you please come on in, Scott?
Who's Scott?
Scott, your husband. I'm just messing with you.
Well, that was really good, okay? That was mean, but it was really good. But do you know what I thought you were going to say when I said I love you, where you're going with this?
What was that?
I thought you were going to say, okay, so for all these years, when you and Scott have been here, he's been like Mr. Montgomery.
Right.
And now for the first time, he's out on his own doing his thing.
Right.
And they came to him and wanted him. So he is Mr. Elledge.
He's Mr.
He
Elledge.
is Scott Elledge. And some of our friends have often joked at how great he is when people go, Mr. Montgomery, which he's not. Montgomery's my maiden name.
Okay.
But he's been a very good Mr. Montgomery for all these years.
Well,
but let me tell you, now he is Mr. Elledge.
Scott, go back, Scott. Go back, Scott. Scott, go back. So Scott is not here, ladies and gentlemen. She's the one
That was very good.
That was pretty good. I appreciate it. But again, if you have any questions for our special guest, please, ma'am, please, sir, put the question on the screen. We'll be glad to answer any and all questions. If you have a question for me, answer any all the questions. Put the question on the screen. Miss Montgomery, I want to know, where do you worship at?
I go to Aldersgate United Methodist Church, which is at Wheeler and Almond Road. We've been members there most of the time that we've been in Augusta since the late 90s, raised our family there. And I tell you what, that church family is just so central to who I am, the support that my family has had over the years. Even my kids now talk about just the extended church family and how meaningful that was in shaping their lives and who they are. And I'm just so glad I was raised in the church, and I'm just so glad that my children were raised in the church. But we love Aldersgate and have had a long legacy there.
So
for our family.
That brings me to another question. With Scott being out of town, he's not in the building. With Scott being out of town, you here, you are constantly moving and grooving and all over the place doing things.
Because I'm Jenny from the block.
Because you're Jenny from the block.
Right.
So
Okay.
you're always on the go. So that being said, you have to have a great covering, a huge covering. So with the covering that I'm referring to is a huge prayer life, because again, your other half is not here.
That's right.
He's miles away.
Yep.
And you miles away. So what the covering that you have to have a protection that you know you are sound in your decision making, your thought process, everything. Because again, so that being said, with the covering that you have, that you should have, or you do have, who is your prayer partner during this time? Do you have a prayer partner that you can just, while Scott is out, you can't talk to Scott's bad
Right.
timing. So
Right.
you got to have a prayer partner, because again, you are dealing with a lot of distance.
I
you
don't
understand
know
the question?
that I do, and I don't know that I necessarily would call them a prayer partner, but I do have a couple of very close friends, and if I wanted to pray with them, I would. Yeah, I would pray with them. And when we get together, we often have a prayer when we start with our group meeting, or when we start a meal together.
Okay.
But in terms of, I know of other people that have prayer partners, and that is something that they do very deliberately. I don't have that very intentional.
Okay.
But I do pray very intentionally. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. Now, we got another question from the floor?
Comment.
Got a comment.
Do you know Selena Soul?
Oh, yes.
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 She said, hey, Gina.
My girl, Selena Soul, yes.
I love you.
Okay, there you go. You are.
Do you know what? Selena Soul, I also believe, was a Giving Your Best winner years ago. I believe we surprised Selena Soul at a school. And I think she had a mentoring group as well. Yeah, she did. Yeah.
Adrian Council said she loved you.
Adrian, thank you so much.
Keep putting the likes and the hearts on the screen. Put the likes and the hearts on the screen.
Likes and the hearts.
Put
Yeah,
the likes and the hearts. Put the
hearts.
thumbs up on the screen. Miss Jenny.
Do you know, wouldn't it just be nice if we just did that to people? Wouldn't it be nice?
Yes.
Wouldn't it be nice if we kind of had little emojis that we could just sort of hold up and do a thumbs up or a heart?
All day long.
Maybe it would make a difference driving, because a lot of people want to send signals to other drivers, but it usually involves a hand motion.
hand
But
gesture.
if we had, I don't know, if we could just encourage each other more instead of tear each other down,
Right.
our lives would be so different.
Now, Jenny, I'm going to ask a simple question again. I like to be simple. I love to say simple. I don't want too much complication. So that being said, with every time we see you on TV, you're smiling, you're having fun, you're telling your stories and all you're doing. So what does Jenny from the block do just to relax?
Okay.
Just to turn the lights off, turn the camera off, and just get away. What did Jenny does?
Do you know what I really love?
What you do?
I love puzzles.
Okay.
I do a lot of word puzzles. I really like puzzles.
Simple.
I like cryptic quotes, which are the puzzles where one letter stands for another. It might be like a paragraph, and you have to figure out what letter is standing for what. I love a sunset, or I love a sunrise. It just kind of depends. At the beach, I'm really all about the sunrise. I'm not necessarily all about the sunrise during my work weeks, because I work a lot of evenings, so I don't get up that early. But when I'm on vacation, especially if I'm at the beach or on a cruise, I see every sunrise. I mean, I feel like that is God's promise to me for the day. And I love sunrise. I love sunsets. Nature is another word, just very inspiring. It's something I like to be in when I am just chilling.
Okay.
But I really do. I really work a lot of puzzles. I think puzzles are a lot of fun, and I
Okay.
want to keep the old brain going.
Keep your brain going.
Yeah.
So now, we don't know when you're gonna put the mic down. We don't know when you're gonna hang up the teleprompter. We don't know when you're gonna do all that.
Right.
But when that day comes, when Jennie just back away from the camera, Jennie's not the Jennie on the block
Yeah,
anymore.
okay.
Jennie just Jennie Montgomery.
Right.
What do you think, or what should we see as your legacy? What is Jennie Montgomery's legacy would be? What will we read about? What would you be known for over the years?
I love that question, and I hope that I will be known as someone who was able to spread positivity, who was able to lift people up even in the course of delivering hard news. A lot of times, I think back to 9/11, how scary it was, and we didn't know what was going to happen, but you could turn on the TV and trust that person. You know, I know what it's like to be in a scary situation, but no, you've still got to be that voice of calm. And I know what it's like when I want to, you know, when I would be a kid and you would look at that person. I hope that I would be as someone who the community trusted, and who helped leave Augusta better, who helped show some of the positive parts of Augusta. Even though there are bad things that happen, it's a really good place, and there are a lot of really important and good things happening here. I hope people will see me as someone who lifted that up, you know, and who I always hope that I would be thought of as someone who, you know, tried to be a servant leader.
Okay, I can feel the love. I can feel the Jennie from the block attitude, atmosphere just sitting next to you. Because again, when the people come in this particular hot seat, this is a hot seat that we just have a regular old conversation.
Right.
Nothing fluff, nothing special. We just have a conversation. And I can feel that when it's time to put this mic down, we will remember Jennie Montgomery as just a regular old person that tried to help everybody she ran across.
That's so nice.
I just feel
That's so nice.
I feel
you know what? One of the things I feel like I get to do in my job, I feel like because I have exposure to so many different people, I feel like a lot of times I get to connect the dots. And I feel like I'm a dot connector. And a lot of times when people come to me with a story or what they think is a story, I can actually get back to them and say, you know, I don't really think you need a news crew. I think you need to call this person or email. This is who you need. I think that a lot of times I can help people not by putting them on the news, but by putting them in touch with the person that can help resolve a situation.
Okay, I feel that. We got a question from the floor?
Yes, Jennie. Yeah, another law. It says this is from Janice Coleman Quinn. She says she has 2 granddaughters that are attending Payne College, majoring in mass communication, and hoping they can become an anchor.
Yes.
What best advice you can give them?
Well, if they are already in college, what they want to do is secure an internship, because they will be able to take several weeks of one of their semesters and get an internship at a television station. I'm sure that the other stations do this too in Augusta. We work with the schools, and they get their course credit for spending the time at the television station. And when we have interns come in, we like to expose them to all the different facets that make up a television station. You know, it's not just the people you see on TV, but it's photographers, it's producers, it's sales executives, it's all the production people who are behind the scenes, and so the special events programming people, so the marketing people. We make sure that they get a little taste of everything when they do an internship. So that's what I would suggest to her. Make sure they do a college internship.
Okay, all right. Okay. Okay. Well, I think I want to possibly be an intern, because I might want to be the next Jennie.
I think you're well on your way.
Well on my way.
No, but what made you decide that Barber Shop Talk Live was something you wanted to do. What made you decide I'm going to do a podcast?
Well, it was a joke. It was
a joke?
It was a joke. Me and the guys, we here in the barber shop playing around, having fun, and we started talking about the Cowboys and the Falcons and the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I just took out my phone and started recording it live.
Yeah.
And as I was recording it live, everybody started chiming in on it and saying, man, I want to come check out the conversation. Y'all got some good stuff going on. And I went on and I did it another time. And all of a sudden, one of the guys, he said, man, you might have something. It seemed like this might take some legs, try it again.
Right.
And I kind of contributed to, well, somebody say the mayor's winning his race, Garnett Johnson winning, because he came on Barbershop Talk Live and had a conversation, and we
Wonderful.
went live, and a lot of people viewed in, and maybe they voted for him because of the Barbershop Talk Live. But this wouldn't be nothing without people like you. This show wouldn't even be on 2 more days without people like you coming on, expressing your views, being honest, being open and candid to the point where any and every question is not off limits to you.
Yeah.
You ask all. So again, this Barbershop Talk Live, I enjoy all of this. But the guests, all of
The
this,
swag.
all of
All the
this,
swag.
all of this. But
He's got merch.
the merchandise, but the guests will make Barbershop Talk Live what it is today, because again, for the viewers that's watching, I thank God for the viewers, for the people that's sponsoring it, to put their hard-earned dollars behind this program and see the need for it. And again, I just love doing what I'm doing. This wouldn't be nothing without people like you coming into what I call the hot seat.
Well, it's been a pleasure to be on the hot seat.
I
It's been
appreciate
really, really fun.
I appreciate it. Now, Jenny, listen now, normally when we do Barbershop Talk Live, I always have to give away something.
Okay.
This is just part of the concept to give away something, because I appreciate the people like you and the people that are watching, and I appreciate them. So what I do is I make sure that all of the customers, all the supporters, everybody heard the conversation, and they have a chance to win something.
Okay.
So if they
Do I get to draw a name or something?
well, they're going to put their name on the screen and they answer the question.
Oh, okay.
So that's how we do it. So
Gotcha.
if they paid attention to this conversation that I had with you,
Yeah.
then they can win a prize.
Got it.
They can win a prize.
Got it. Okay.
So now what we're going to do, we're going to ask 2 questions.
Okay.
Now, please, ma'am, please, sir, if you paid attention to the conversation with our special guest, Ms. Jennie Montgomery, you will be able to know and have a chance to win the prize that we're going to give away. But you had to pay attention to the conversation. There's 2 questions.
Okay.
Now, the first question is very simple.
Right.
The first question I'm going to ask is very simple. Do you know her husband's name?
That's a good one.
That's the simplest question I
That's
could
a
have
good
got.
one.
If you got the question, remember it's a 2-part question. It's a 2-part question. The first question is, do you know her husband's name? I think we said it a few times. The next question is maybe simple also. How many years have they been married? She mentioned it.
I did.
She mentioned it. Again, if you pay attention to the conversation, you'll know. Answer the question. First person put the answer to this question on the screen. I have a bag here for you. Let me show you the bag that we have. This bag is for you.
Look at you.
This bag is for the person that get the question right.
Look
Again,
at that.
please, ma'am, please, sir, put the question on the screen. Put the answer on the screen. What is her husband's name? First question. Second question, how long have they been married?
Right.
Very simple. If you have the answer, put it on the screen. We'll be sure to give you a prize. And also, Jenny, I got to do one thing to you. I'm going to do something to you.
Okay.
This is what I call the challenge flag.
The challenge flag.
This is a challenge flag, and this challenge flag came from the NFL.
Cool.
This came from the NFL to the point where whenever there's a call made on the field, the coach doesn't agree with the call. Oh wait, I think do we have an answer? We have a possible answer.
Scott and share the same person. Scott in 27 years.
All right, now let me ask.
27's not right. That's how long. That's how long I've been anchoring.
Okay, so that's not right. So the next person to get the question right again, what is her husband's name and how long have they been married? Now, Ms. Montgomery, I got to give you a challenge.
Okay.
Here comes the challenge. Again, this challenge comes from the NFL.
Okay.
When the coach,
With the sequence on it?
yes.
Okay.
That means that the coach is not happy with
Whatever.
the call that the referee gave, so they're going to challenge the call.
I like it.
So now I'm challenging you.
Okay.
I'm challenging you.
I'm up for it.
You ready for the challenge?
Bring it.
Simple challenge. The challenge that I'm going to give to Ms. Montgomery is to continue being the best anchor that you can be on WJBF Channel News 6, and continue to keep giving your best. Continue to make sure you do a lot in this community. Continue to have your reputation uphold. Continue to be blessed and not lucky. That's your challenge.
I love it.
Continue.
I love it.
And now I'm going to drop the flag.
Okay.
I just dropped the challenge flag on you, Miss Montgomery.
Okay.
So that's your challenge. Continue to be the best anchor on WJBF. Continue to be blessed. Continue to get your prayer partner, have a prayer partner. Continue to do the things that you do for the community. And one day, when this book is written, we'll see your legacy.
Thank you.
We'll be glad that you've been a part of this area for all these many years. Miss Montgomery, I appreciate you.
That's the sweetest thing. I love that. Thank you.
You've been challenged.
Okay.
You've been challenged.
I won't let you down.
Don't you let me
I
down.
won't
Don't
do
you
it.
let the community down. Miss Montgomery, I appreciate you for coming on Barber Shop Talk Live.
It's a pleasure.
I really enjoyed it. Now listen, if you have the answer to the question, please, ma'am, please, sir, put it on the screen. Again, the question is, what is her husband's name? And how long have they been married? You can also tune in every Wednesday, Barber Shop Talk Live, 6 o'clock, right here at 1927 Olive Road. Listen, next week's guest, don't forget, next week's guest is Tony Lewis, your very own commissioner here in Augusta, Georgia. Tony Lewis will be our next guest. So tune in to Barber Shop Talk Live next week. If you want to be in the hot seat, inbox me. If you want to be a guest on Barber Shop Talk Live and be a guest in this hot seat, please, man, please, so just inbox me. If you want to be a supporter, you want to be a vendor, you want to be support. If you want to just pray for this, please, man, please, sir, keep praying for it. Again, to our sponsors, to our vendors, to our supporters, we thank you, appreciate you. If I don't see you again, God knows I love you. If I don't see you again, Ms. Montgomery, God knows I love you, and I thank God for you. Do we have an answer to the question?
We had an answer, but everybody knows your husband's name.
All right.
They got Scott, yeah.
And how many years have they been married?
Everybody saying 27.
27. Ms. Montgomery, that correct, Montgomery? That's not correct. That's not correct.
I said in the sentence, this December we'll be married blank years. So right now we're still below what that is.
Right. So again, if you paid attention to the conversation, this bag is waiting for you.
You said below 27, right?
No, I've been anchoring 27 years.
Okay, I got Adrian, she says 29.
Getting close.
Scott in 29.
You're getting close. So this bag is going to be to the next week's. Yes, we are. So please, man, please, sir, keep tuning in to Barber Shop Talk Live. We're going to get out of here. Mrs. Montgomery, you ready to rock out of here?
Ready?
We rock out of here in a certain way now.
How do we rock out?
Now, whatever that DJ J will give us.
Oh, okay.
Now this is the DJ.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what it should be.
What it should be.
Gino Vanelli.
What? I don't know if he got it, but whatever he give us, we're going to rock out.
Okay, well, I'll rock to whatever.
Now, if you can rock,
Yeah.
we're going to rock.
Okay.
You ready to rock?
Yeah.
Now, we got DJ J Will here, and whatever that DJ gives us, that's how we get out of Barber Shop Talk Live. And again, I appreciate you for coming. WJBF, I thank you for giving us her time from your station to come on Barber Shop Talk Live. Miss Montgomery, you ready to rock out here?
Yeah.
You ready, DJ? You ready to let us rock out here? Because again, Barber Shop Talk Live is every Wednesday, 6 o'clock live. You want to be a guest? Please, ma'am, so it is inbox.
Oh my gosh, you got it.
Uh-oh. You ready?
When I think about those nights in Montreal, I get the sweetest thoughts of you and me.
Sing it.
Memories of love, brothers, siblings. I'm trying so hard to make it, but I know my heart won't take it. I just wanna stop and tell you what I feel about you, babe. I just wanna stop. I never would live without you, babe. I just wanna stop for your love.
Are we rock for another minute?
This is Jennie Montgomery from around the way. WJBF 36. I'm telling you, keep tuning in to Barber Shop Talk Live. You will not be disappointed. Special guest, Sandra Jennie. She gonna rock out here with us.
When I think about the way the world must turn, get the saddest thoughts for you and me.
The challenge is met. She has met the challenge.
Memories of life.